There's a whole lot you're not telling me. Good. Herein lies the point. Be careful who you put your faith in. The only people who can betray us are the ones we trust.
Last of Us Episode 6, The Deep Dive.
The deep dive.
Let's get into this, Max. I ain't got a lot of time. I got some naps to take and stuff.
Naps?
No, I'm just playing. Thanks again to our Patreon producer, Knight Rider 169. You are the man. And thanks everybody that's been contributing, helping us out, sending us some information, sending us some love. We appreciate it. This community grows with your support. Please, help us out. Share this information with others. Help us spread like the virus or
fungus.
The fungus.
Virus.
Fungus. Help it spread like some fungus. Let's take over the airwaves. Whatever we're saying.
Tell a friend to subscribe.
Let's get into some key facts really fast, or some key stuff that I found and you found, and then we can actually talk about certain scenes that we wanted.
Housekeeping.
Yeah, we call it. That's
the segment is housekeeping.
Segment is housekeeping,
which could be sponsored soon. Yes.
Really, I'm gonna bring up something that Bionic Piano Man pointed out. The gunshot. So the gunshot that I said that I didn't like, that I thought was kind of stupid when they were over by the river. They fire in the air for like. They shoot in the air. Joel shoots in the air, waits a second, and then they start taking off. And so we're still trying to figure out what that purpose was. Was it just to see if there was any human beings around the river? Was there any infected? Regardless, Bionic Piano Man makes a point. You fire the gun, and right when he fires it, they stand up and start walking. They don't even wait to see if anything's actually moving. They just go. And so he pointed it out, and I have to agree with him. That just made that scene even dumber. I just don't understand the purpose.
I didn't like it, but to play devil's advocate, I think it's if anybody's like camping out, this is what I'm assuming.
I get that.
If someone's camping out and like, just eyeing, you're just looking, a gunshot would kind of startle you, and then maybe you see a bush move,
You still have to look for that bush.
Yeah, he took a quick glaze. He was like from afar. You could see
the ultimate scanner.
Yeah, when you're looking but not really looking, and it's kind of blurry, and then if something moves, your eye kind of moves to it.
I guess
I think that's the only thing I can give them.
Joel can't hear worth a shit. He's afraid.
But he can still see.
He's afraid he's too old, but he can see. He's still got 20/20.
Yeah, he's sniping well. So don't. His eyes are still good.
Good for Joel. Also, did the double take on the horseback ride. Yeah, they're not doubling up on the horses when they go back to Jackson. So some reason they had two extra horses with them to help them take Joel and Ellie back to Jackson. So that was a nice little thing. I did hear. Let's talk about the panic attacks really quick. So I did hear that the panic attack is Joel feeling like he's a father figure to Ellie, not wanting to fail her like he did with Sarah.
Yep.
And then we also got. The writer came out and said the reason for the time jump, Max, was so that
lazy,
right? So that they they're not still mourning the death of Sam and Henry. Now we can just move on to the relationship that they've kind of built together, and that's what happens in the game as well.
I know.
I don't think it's lazy. I understand why he did that move.
Yeah, it's called HBO only commissioned them 9 episodes within their budget. In the game, it makes sense because it's a freaking game. But in television, you have the power to expand on your story. In 3 months, you tell me there was nothing you guys could have thought up to write that was interesting enough that can enhance their relationship and their rapport of the two of them. It doesn't even have to be, the day after meeting Henry and Sam. But you're telling me the trek from where were they?
KC.
From KC to
They were at the QC at the KC.
QC at the KC. From KC, you're walking across the United States. Nothing worth a Phil episode. And I know how much you love Phil episodes, but it was I think it's weak. They could have gave me something. Because
Okay.
again, I'm not looking forward. Like, okay, my favorite. This is gonna be off topic here, but this is what this episode's for. My favorite weekend in football. I love football, right? My favorite weekend in football is the divisional playoffs, right?
Okay.
Because there's always an upset. The games are usually really great, and then they're phenomenal, right? My favorite weekend in football. But the following weekend is the one I hate the most because the championship weekend, usually the championship games are crap. And I know after this weekend, there's only one more game left until the following fall. And I can't stand that, right? I'm getting to the point, I'm enjoying this show so much. We're at episode 6 here. I know after next weekend, there's only like 2 episodes left. And there's going to be, God knows when this thing's going to come back. You know, HBO likes to have shows take an extra year and a half or 2 years to come back. So I'm not looking forward to that. So that's why, give me a damn fill episode to hold me off. I'm like a fiend over here.
Well, they're cramming it in. Like my buddy Richard, he pointed it out to me where they were at actually in the show, and then were how much more content there is in the game, and they're gonna start cramming some things in, and they did in this episode. Even though we like this episode so much, like I just played the game. I played the part where you see Tommy all the way to when Joel gets stabbed, right? When she doesn't get stabbed in the game, he actually falls. Gets pushed off of a railing. Yeah. Anyways, that's a lot of content in the game that they just pushed into 45 minutes in the actual show. Like when they go to the university, there's a huge part in the university that doesn't happen in the game because it's kind of irrelevant, to be honest with you, but it's all crammed into what are they at the university for, like 10 minutes? Maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
I think we're going to start seeing a lot more of that.
Yeah, and I'm going to be more cranky as we go.
I got you.
My anger is because I like the show a lot.
That's good. Far. I like the show too. One more thing that I wanted to point out, is it Dina? I said that to you, and you said no.
It is. I didn't say no. I just said they didn't. The report was that they hadn't cast the character yet. So that's all I said. I said they according to the showrunners, they hadn't cast the character yet. But then this week they came out and say he didn't confirm or deny it. But dude, it is.
Right. For those of you who haven't played the games, Dina is a main character in the second video game.
Which will be the second season. So there's a girl that you see that's kind of looking at Ellie while she's eating food, and she says something, and Ellie kind of like abruptly says something to her, like, "What are you looking at?" That's the character that we think is Dina. And what's her name?
Man,
rather you than me.
Palona Van Cleef.
There you go. That works.
Are you sure that works? I'm gonna need someone to maybe help me with that later. I don't know. I'm sorry. If I butchered that, I'm really sorry.
But they did a great job. She looks like the video game.
She looks like the character from the video game. If that is her, which I'm pretty sure we're all pretty sure that is her.
I think they did a better casting job. This is not gonna be a pop. I'm gonna say it anyway. I think they, aesthetically, if you want to compare characters to the game, they did a better job with her than they did with Bella Ramsey as Ellie, and what's her name that played Sarah? She was a different kind of Sarah, but Sarah, there was a completely different look. Thaddeus Newton's daughter.
See, okay, I know we're not doing
Nico
comparisons
Parker.
yet. We're not. I liked her.
Even though
she was different than the video game, I really liked her.
No, I did. I'm not saying in terms of like or not. I'm just saying if you were gonna if you were gonna try to make the character who playing on TV look like the character in the game, it was completely different. Nico Parker was better to me, but it was a different look,
right?
And same thing with Bella Ramsey. She's a different look than the video game, but the girl they picked to do the staring girl, they dub her as for the episode.
Yeah,
she
they went and found the doppelganger.
Yeah, she looks just like her.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's what I'll say.
Do you have any more housekeeping before I jump in?
Housekeeping before you jump in? No, I mean there was a lot of scenes that are right exactly from the video game. Yeah. The argument, we're going to talk about that. The scene when you get into Jackson is pretty much they have that kind of scene when you're playing the game as well. That was pretty much the bulk of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the opening scene that I pulled really quick. So that part was the end conversation that Ellie was having with Maria.
Yes.
And I felt like what she said actually put in perspective of what this episode was, really, which was, you know, Joel's trust in his brother, and then Ellie's trust in Joel.
Excellent. Yeah.
And so I felt like her wording kind of just like set the tone for the entire episode, even though it doesn't even happen till like, I think it's midway through the episode, but I think it described what was happening pretty well. Okay, so the next
Don't you think she kind of jumped the gun? She doesn't really know Joel, just with stories. Tommy, so
that's
Tommy's
her man,
telling
but that's
her
her
some
man.
messed up
But
stuff.
that's her man.
I know, but
And I
Tommy
feel
must be telling her some horrible stuff about Joel, like, oh, he's not a loyal guy. Like, for her to have that kind of light on him,
when
don't you think?
We pulled, like, when we get to that part, because I did pull a conversation that I wanted to really dive into, like how I feel like that conversation came about on what she was saying, like on what Tommy was saying about Joel to make her feel that way. But let's harness that for a second. Let's just go scene by scene,
all right,
and just knock it out. All right, so the next
you're
scene
not going to do every scene, are you?
Not every. Well,
okay.
The next scene I want to listen to. This is the scene when Ellie's telling Joel that she tried to cure Sam with her blood. So let's take a listen.
It'll work, right? The vaccine.
It's a little late to start wondering.
I tried with Sam.
Tried what?
I knew he was infected. I rubbed some of my blood into his bite. I know, it was stupid, but I wanted to save him.
I thought it was a cool scene because, like I think we said before, it shows that person inside of her, not the whole devil that we thought that she was, not the whole like the psycho. It shows that she understands the responsibility that she's carrying this stuff. Yeah. I think, and then she sees the hope in her blood, right? That she thinks that it could actually like save some people, that it could actually change certain things.
She's believing.
Yeah, and
she's
I think it's a pretty cool thing. Joel, on the other hand, I don't really get, like, even when he was like, when she's telling him these things, and I feel like Joel maybe 3 days prior to or something like that might have been a little pissed.
Okay.
But the fact that you just had this 3-month jump, right?
That we have no idea what's going on.
We have no idea what's happened. And now all of a sudden she's deciding to tell Joel. So obviously they feel like they're becoming closer, that, oh, I did all these things. I think Joel prior to that would be probably a little upset that she did that. Like, oh, you thought your blood would do this, but then you stayed in the room with someone that could have turned, could have ripped you apart. He doesn't like give her a scolding or anything. He just kind of like, all right, let's just move on now.
You know, that's a good point. Maybe he thinks because she can't really get hurt by them.
They can still like that.
They can still hurt you physically,
right?
Like
if they weren't in the room, they would have ripped
but they could rip you apart.
Yeah. I thought that was well, interesting thing. Sorry if my voice sounds a little weird. My kid had a baseball game today and I had to yell a lot. So
I told you, stop being Lou Piniella and be more Joe Torre.
Oh man, it's getting rough.
Like, sit there, chill, you know, and not overexert.
Well, if my kids can catch some fly balls, then I'd be able to do that. All right, let's pull the next scene. So the next scene I want to listen to, this is when Joel decides he's going to lie to Tommy about what he's doing with Ellie and what happened to Tess.
Working on raising some hogs, too. Once we get bacon, I mean, what's even left?
Christmas trees and bacon. Pretty decent setup.
So how's Tess?
She's fine. All right.
Good then. And the kid?
Oh, yeah. She's the daughter of some firefly muckety-muck. Trying to find her family somewhere out here. I was heading in this direction, so...
Really?
All right, so video game differences really fast. Joel never lies to Tommy about Ellie. Okay? So let's
Why
just get that out of the way.
Why do you think he did that for?
I think he did it because I think there's a little bit of resentment. I think there's also like a little bit, I think he's just pissed, to be honest with you. Underlining, he's pissed that he's been looking for a battery to get to his brother because he thought his brother was in trouble this entire time. Come to find out, he's married. He's got a pretty cush place right now.
Yeah.
There's a bar. He's talking about making bacon.
Didn't even tell me about it.
Doesn't even tell him about it. Like, I think he's at a point maybe he doesn't feel like he could trust his brother. Like
I agree.
he needs his brother because his brother, obviously for the reason we find out why later on in the show, because he thinks that he's getting old, he thinks he's getting weak, and his brother is so young and spry, and he can, you know, help do whatever. That's why after at the end of this conversation, he just assumes Tommy's going to go with him. But I think he's mad. I think he's mad. He doesn't think he can trust his brother right now.
I think you're right on. I think it's him holding it close to the vest because at this point he realizes his brother has changed and he doesn't know exactly how far he's changed, how much he's changed.
Right.
Because a lot has changed in Tommy's life. Like you said, he found a great place. He's married. You know, did he find out about the baby yet?
No, he finds out the baby right after this scene. Right.
So
well, after he assumes that he's going to be taken.
Marriage is still a huge thing, and you know, one of those things we were talking about on Sunday with the timeline. Tommy says he joined after the Fireflies, right? Joel mentioned that Tommy was left the Fireflies, right?
Yeah.
So that's again another change that Joel knows about. That again, you don't know what version of your brother you're getting here. So I can see why you hold this kind of stuff close to the vest.
Right. But he does think his brother's like an idealist. He thinks his brother
yeah.
So it's definitely a trust thing for me, at least, because I would think that he would think that his brother would want to know this information immediately because he wants to save the world, change the world. Like he's always been the person that he says his brother's always, he needed a purpose, always wanted to jump into battle and stuff like that. That's why he joined the military and everything. So you would think this would be a good opportunity. Like he would think, I would think that he would think that his brother would want to know this information because it would have been so helpful for him emotionally.
Yeah.
Right? Am I reaching? I feel like I have to say, I don't know.
Oh, you're all right.
I think I'm there. I
agree.
I just think there's definitely a trust issue stuff there for sure, and there's definitely some resentment because of where Tommy's at and what Joel's been through just to get there. Because we obviously don't know what happened in those 3 months.
He lost Tess.
Tess. You saw he watched a brother kill his brother. You know, you saw that whole thing happen. He talks about it or later on to his brother. He's been going through some shit. And that entire time, his brother has just been like helping build fences, chilling, drinking whiskey.
See the lay of the land, hold it close to the vest, see what's, how it's working around here before you empty your hand,
How many times do you think I said brother right there?
No, you're fine.
That was ridiculous. All right, let's do the next scene. All right. So this next scene, this is Tommy saying he got took in and he couldn't use the radio. And I just wanted to maybe just dive into this a little bit more.
Yeah. I like it.
Let's listen.
Yeah, I can't go.
Oh, come on. I made it across the country. The two of us can make it from here to Colorado. What, because your wife won't let you?
Joel.
She the one who kept you off the radio? Is that why you stopped messaging me back?
After I ditched the Fireflies, Maria and her crew found me. They're good people. They didn't have to take me in, but they did. And all they ask is that I follow their rules.
I'm your brother.
Yeah, I'm aware. They're very protective of this place. And for good fucking reason. I mean, folks find out we're up here.
No, I heard. Wrong people might show up. So is that what I am? Am I the wrong people?
Joel,
those things I did, Tommy, those things that you judge me for. I did those things to keep us alive.
We did those things. They weren't things. We murdered people. And I don't judge you for it. We survived the only way we knew how. But there were other ways. We just weren't any good at them.
So I think I pointed this out before. I love that Joel has like a Bruce Wayne and a Batman voice. You notice when he gets real serious, all of a sudden his voice just drops. It's really good.
It's tough guy Joel.
Yeah. So this scene happens right after the last scene we listened to when, Joel lies to Tommy. Yeah. And then after he lies to Tommy, he just assumes that Tommy's going to come with him, right? Mm-hmm. Tommy says he can't, and then he tells him why he can't. And it almost seems like he's laying in daggers to Joel. Like why I didn't use the radio, why people aren't allowed to come in here, the wrong people, all that kind of shit. And I could see why Joel is kind of getting offended by it, like how he is taking it personal because he's his brother, and why wouldn't his brother try to reach out to him to let him know? You said it like in the last episode or that we did that he found what did he find?
Shangri-La?
Found Shangri-La, and he's not telling him about it.
Yeah.
So of course he'd be pissed off about
Joel's
that, right?
freaking throwing poor dead kids' bodies in fires and
Right.
doing, sewer duty.
Right.
And his brother's, working on farming bacon. And,
Right.
and shacked up with a wife. He's living a good life. You saw how Joel and Tessa were like beat up in the Boston QC zone.
He literally got beat up in the
literally got beat up in the QC zone. So like I would, if it was my brother, I'd be pissed.
Yeah.
Like you find a way to let me know. Like you send something.
Yeah. He's trying to move everything he possibly can to get a battery.
Yeah.
To get to his brother, to the point where he's going to take some random girl across, Boston.
Yeah.
To meet up with the Fireflies, and all the stuff happens. He loses Tess.
So let me ask you this.
What's up?
Okay.
Ask me.
The end of episode 1,
Right.
the radio plays in that post-credit scene, the 80s song, the Depeche Mode, meaning trouble.
Right.
Who played that?
That was Bill's thing. Remember, if he doesn't press a code, it was like
It was
lost.
Bill?
If Bill doesn't put in a code ever so
Yeah,
often,
three
it automatically
weeks.
plays.
So it was Bill who played that.
It was Bill who played that.
Okay.
That had nothing to do with Tommy.
Because remember in that episode, he kept going to the radio guy. Did
Different,
Tommy
but that's
send me any messages?
Yeah.
No, just to show you how concerned he was for Tommy. Tommy didn't send anything. At least like when he got found by the new group, he should have first say, hey, let me send message back to my brother that I'm okay, or at least something.
Right.
Like Tommy's just, I don't know, man.
So I think
negative points, man.
I
across the
think
board.
Joel's right, and his wife wouldn't let him.
Yeah.
So, and I wanted to wait till one of the other scenes. We can kind of dive into it now a little bit. So obviously, when Joel enters this communion or this commune, when he becomes a communist,
well, he does enter a communion. He marries Maria.
right? But before all that, when he's trying to get into the community, that's what I meant. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
He has to tell him a little bit about himself, and he's pretty honest. He meets Maria.
Mm-hmm.
They obviously form a connection, and they form a love connection because they, regardless of she gets pregnant or whatever. But he tells her his history, right?
Yes.
And obviously Joel's a part of that history because she knows about Joel. She knows the things that they both did together.
Yeah.
And however Tommy worded it, the blame gets put on Joel, right?
Yes.
So I really think at some point in that relationship, in that conversation, maybe Tommy does mention to her, I have a brother. I want to get my brother in here, blah, blah, blah. And she says, there's no way you can bring him here.
A guy like that.
You can't bring a guy like that in here.
Ooh.
And so even maybe like he throws a little bit more at Joel than should have been at Joel, because even Tommy admits like, this is what we had to do. I don't blame you. This is what we had to do to survive. We didn't know any better. It's like, but maybe he doesn't word it that way to Maria because he wants to stay in this community.
Community.
Yeah. So I could see why it hurts Joel a lot. And it sucks.
You know why it really hurts him a lot? Because what happens if Maria's horseback riding crew didn't catch him at the River of Death or whatever it's called?
Right.
Joel would have went to that tower in Wyoming and Tommy wouldn't be there. And then he would have been like, did Tommy leave a note? Probably not.
Maybe
he would have gotten there and Tommy wouldn't be there. And then where does he go?
Did Tommy say that he left Wyoming?
No, they're saying that's the communication tower.
Right.
Remember in
what
that
if
first
Tommy
episode?
was on his way to Wyoming to leave the
Yeah,
message
yeah.
Joel? He runs into Maria and the crew, or
Yeah.
he just stumbles upon Jackson and goes, that's a nice place. And somehow, however the events happen, he ends up there and decides this place is a little bit better. Why? What's he even doing out there anyways? If he's not with the Fireflies anymore, what is he even doing?
Maybe he was on mission for the Fireflies. I mean, right?
But how did he already know that?
He ditches it and
what? Sends Joel a radio call and says, "I'm leaving the Fireflies. I'm just gonna wander."
That's, you think 3 months, that 3 month period, they could have gave you an episode like that,
Jesus,
or to make you happy, they could have gave you a soft opening.
Right.
To do it too, just to answer some of these questions when you're doing an expanded TV show of a video game. You let 3 months go by where you could have had a lot of. Anyway, keep going.
All right. Jeez, man. All right, let's pull the next scene right now. This is the conversation. This is the one that actually dives into more like where we get how Maria doesn't trust Joel.
Yes.
So this is the conversation with Ellie and Maria. So let's listen.
Look, I'm not going to ask you what you're doing with him.
Good.
But there are clearly things you don't know about Joel.
Oh, like how he used to kill people? I know about that.
So then you understand my concern.
He doesn't do that anymore.
He stopped killing people?
Innocent ones. And Tommy did it too. Are you worried about him?
Tommy was following Joel. The way you are now.
Well, maybe I'm smarter than Tommy. No offense.
You are definitely smart. Would have made a hell of a lawyer.
All right, so we've come to the conclusion that Tommy's only been with Maria for like 4 months.
Is that's
I think it's the math that I came up with. It's
okay,
4 months.
I'll go with it.
We'll give him 5 months. That's a lot of trust into Tommy that he's telling the truth about Joel. I mean, obviously they've been together a lot, but she's very quick to go.
Well, when you're vulnerable like
Tommy
that,
was only following Joel. Like he only did those things because of Joel.
But that's how you build trust when you tell somebody, when you're vulnerable like that and tell people like some of that horrible stuff that you've done in your life story, that actually builds trust. Or
she's just trying to convince herself that she made the right decision by marrying this person, by having his child and letting him into this community.
Yeah.
Because all those things happened. And it's been 5 months. 4.
But no.
So you still got to be telling yourself at that time, I just made a lot of quick decisions really fast. I made the right call, right? So it's easy to you gotta trust the person that you've decided to go on this journey with.
Well, from what we see in this show, love happens fast, I guess. There's not a lot of... It's a game of musical chairs, and half the chairs got eliminated by fungus, right? So
more than half.
More than half. So I guess
we'll say
Frank, Bill and Frank got together in what, 1 day? Maybe they got together quick. Relationships forged very fast in the apocalypse.
But there's a 3-year jump in that episode that you're not going crazy about.
Huh?
Well, after they get together, doesn't it jump like 3 years and then shows them fighting?
But it's still in the same episode.
Oh, okay. So if they did a 3-month jump in the same episode, you'd be okay with it?
I would have been okay with that.
All right.
Yes.
But at the same
just
time,
expand on stuff that you don't get.
But the difference also is between Bill and Frank is they weren't the main characters, and we didn't care that much about them as obviously as we did about Ellie and Joel.
But the thing is, so far these relationships happen extremely fast.
Yeah.
There's no long courting in the apocalypse, man. Who has time for that kind of crap?
You have plenty of time. What are you talking about?
What do you mean? You could die the next day from
that's
a
true.
staph infection or a zombie,
some strawberry that you pull out of the ground,
or some what is it, raiders and rapists or whatever they are,
right?
Slavers,
Right.
Okay. Tomorrow's not promising the apocalypse, man.
Oh man! All right, let's pull the next scene.
Yeah.
All right, so the next one. Okay, so this scene is gonna there's a lot of parts in this scene. I'm sorry about it, but there's a lot of stuff in this. We can't listen to the entire thing as one, but I want to play one section, talk about, play a section, talk about.
That sounds like a plan.
So this is Joel having a conversation with Tommy about being too weak and scared.
Yeah.
To take Ellie to the Fireflies.
Yeah.
Well, let's listen.
We made it as far as KC, and then, she saved my life there from another kid. 5 years ago, I would have destroyed him, but she had to shoot him to save me. 14 years old, because I was too slow and too fucking deaf to hear him coming. And that's all. I saw a man kill his own brother to save her while I just watched. And today I thought that dog was going to tear her apart because it smelled something on her. And all I did was stand there. I couldn't move. I couldn't think of anything to say. I was so afraid.
So this is it's an interesting take, direction to do in the show, because in the game, this does not happen at all, which I mentioned in the last episode. Joel does not confine Tommy, or he's not having panic attacks. He's not scared as far as being too old.
It's a combination of old and and a post-traumatic experience losing his daughter. All that wraps into one. And like you said, it's been different, but it's been an ongoing theme throughout the whole series.
Right.
The fear aspect of Joel. Joel has done a lot of things based off of fear.
Right.
And it's great depth in the character. A hardened guy, a tough guy, everybody's afraid of, but he has repeatedly shown fear, whether it was being afraid of Tess, backing up when Tess was infected. Like it shows his human side.
Right.
And I'm not shocked that he's expressing himself to his brother like that, because that's probably the only person he trusts now in the world, right? At this point, with Tess gone. So if he's going to be vulnerable and, express the fear that he's shown through every episode we've had, this is the time to do it.
Yeah. And
so I wasn't surprised by it. I thought Pedro did a great job.
Oh, he did a phenomenal job. Yeah.
Of performing that. And this is the Joel we get in this show.
Right.
Fear does play a big role in that character.
Right.
He is not like ultra brave. He's brave, but fear does creep in. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? That's the whole Batman thing, right?
Right.
Embrace the fear and use it, right? So,
notice he doesn't have his deep voice right now.
yeah, there you go.
All right, let's listen to the next part.
I have dreams. Every night.
What kind of dreams?
I don't know. I can't remember. I just know that when I wake up, I've lost something. I'm failing in my sleep. It's all I do. It's all I've ever done. It's failure. Again and again.
So I think he can be talking about multiple girls there. So if he's dreaming about Sarah, if he's re-dreaming about Sarah, failing her over and over and over again, Tess, feeling like he failed Tess over and over and over again, and now all this stuff with Ellie.
Yeah.
So it might not be the same dream he's having. He might be having multiple dreams, but it's always him failing one of these three women.
Yeah.
Over and over and over and over again.
And that's you're so onto that. And I think he also didn't want to fail his brother. That's why he was so hunting for that battery to get out there, right?
Yeah.
That's another person he doesn't want to fail. And, what he's experienced, that fear of failure, that, that term that's been popular over the last 20, 30 years in real world, no matter what industry you're in, the fear of failure will cripple you. And it's physically crippling him with these panic attack and him freezing when Ellie was about to get ripped up by the dog. All of that fear of failure in anything you do will make you not do anything. You want to start a business, that fear will get you stagnant. It will make you, overanalyze things or freeze or not act. It's a deterrent for action. And in this world and what he's dealing with, like he said, like, you cannot have the fear to act or hesitate to act, because that's your life.
Right.
So, and the fact that it's happening in his subconscious, in his dreams, that is deep and profound. And I don't know how he's able to do anything he's doing, because he should be curled up in a room.
Yeah, and and this has all been happening for at least 3 months.
At least, yeah.
And he couldn't confide into Ellie and talk to her about it. He's had no one to talk to about it. Yeah. So, which is probably another reason why when he gets to find Tommy and he sees how Tommy's having this great life right now, and he's been having all this stuff bottled up in him and stuff, and he feels maybe at that point, at that time, where now I don't have anyone to talk to now when they're at the bar. Now I can't rely on you right now. So here, Tess is fine. We're all okay. She's somebody's daughter. It doesn't really matter. It's probably why he chose to lie to him. Another reason, at least.
Yeah, and I know how you said, like, you brought up the fact that this Joel is completely different than the Joel in the video game, right? Because he's
completely.
having
Meaning the
panic attack side I'm talking about, right? That to me brings a lot of human element, because if you go through an apocalypse, you lose your daughter in your arms.
Sure.
You just lost your love interest. Like your 20 years of hell on Earth, right? That's a lot. For you. I mean, no therapy, no nothing. That's a lot for any human being to handle. If he was walking around like freaking bulletproof, that wouldn't be authentic. But I love the fact
That's
that
true.
the show has made him vulnerable, because I think I don't care how tough you are, you go through all that crap, you're going to be having panic attacks and stressing and I give him credit for what he does when action is called upon, but that just is, I really appreciated that side of what they did for the character in the show.
Okay.
That's why it's a great show.
Yeah. All right, let's listen to the next part.
Yeah.
You think I can still handle things, but I'm not who I was. I'm weak. Lately, there are these moments where the fear comes up out of nowhere, and my heart feels like it stopped.
Wow. He called himself weak.
Yeah. You
Fear.
ever had a panic attack?
No.
I have. It sucks. So I can't even, and that's just with my normal life issues.
Yeah.
So to the shit that he's dealing with right now, it's got to be absolute fucking brutal.
Yeah, he says freeze his heart.
Yeah.
I mean, he's doubting himself big time in this scene, right?
Yeah. And it's in the choice that he's making right now to have Tommy take Ellie. It's obviously not an easy one, because you can tell now that he obviously cares for Ellie. Even though he doesn't want to admit it yet and he doesn't want to say it, he obviously does care for her. He doesn't want to fail her. He's not talking about humanity.
No.
He's not talking about, I don't want to fail humanity.
That's a great
because
point.
I have this, the cure to this, this fungus disease that's destroyed everything. He's not talking about that. He's talking about just one person.
His motivation is not saving the world.
Right.
You're right. It's not even the fear like, I'm going to mess this up and, the world's going to stay like this. That is such a good point. I didn't even think about that, but you're right. It's only about failing her.
Yeah.
He could care less about freaking saving the world.
Right.
Wow.
Now, whether he's blending his feelings from his daughter into Ellie, if he's getting them crossed,
no, that's
maybe they're,
that's understandable.
It's totally understandable, but it's still, the end result is still the same, that he obviously cares about her so much that he's willing to give the responsibility to his brother because he feels that his brother will do a better job.
Yeah.
And that can't not be easy.
I know. And to your point, Tess, before she died, her vision was to save the world. She didn't tell Joel to protect Ellie because, you got to protect this 14-year-old.
Got to get the battery.
It was, she was convincing him that she's going to be the savior of the world, right?
Right.
You gotta bring her over to Bill and Frank because she's the key. So her vision was only the world. But Joel, who never believed in all of that nonsense, right?
Right.
He's completely Ellie. That's such a great point. I like that.
Thank you. Okay, let's do the last scene that we pulled, and we're gonna jump now to the conversation that Joel has with Ellie when Joel comes in to tell Ellie that he's not gonna, he won't be taking her.
Pulled right from the game.
Pulled right from the game.
I'm not her, Maria told me about Sarah and...
No. Don't say another word.
I'm sorry about your daughter, Joel. But I have lost people too.
You have no idea what loss is.
Everybody I have cared for has either died or left me. Everybody fucking except for you! So don't tell me that I'd be safe with somebody else, because the truth is, I would just be more scared.
Losing a daughter's got to be rough, but the nerve of Joel to say to her that you don't know what loss is,
Yeah.
that's pretty brutal.
Well, he's thinking she was born and raised in the QC zone. She didn't experience the fall of society. What could
That's
she
true,
possibly
yeah.
have experienced in the QC? I'm not calling the QC zone cushy, but
If that's all you've known.
if
yeah.
that's all you've known,
Right.
you don't know how it was before and how far we've fallen and who we lost. People lost family, friends, work, society, way of life, Starbucks, all that crap, right?
Right.
So I think that's the perspective he's going, which is kind of unfair because they've been together for how many months now. They've never obviously had a conversation about what she's experienced in that time frame.
Yeah.
To say that I have experienced loss, so that's why I, playing devil's advocate, I can see why he would go there.
Yeah. But in a way, it's also Ellie kind of checking him again.
Oh yeah,
because she checked him once before when he told her, or when she told him not to, I guess, project his shit onto her about the death of Tess, right?
Great point.
So this is her kind of, in a way, kind of doing the same thing, kind of pointing out like, hey, you're not you can't just be you can't coin the whole loss thing. Like I've been experiencing this shit as well. And obviously it doesn't click on him. There's not that head nod like there was like that in the conversation.
Took a little time to marinate.
It takes obviously overnight for that to marinate, but I think the result does kick in.
Oh yeah.
And so when I was talking previously about like his feelings getting crossed between his daughter and Ellie, as far as like he has these feelings, but maybe they're being mirrored from, because of the similarities, the young, not necessarily his feelings for Tess, or I'm sorry, his feelings for Ellie, but just remembering his daughter and like how he failed his daughter. But I think after this conversation, after he said, after he points out not to not to bring up the daughter, and she says those things, and then he says to her, like, you're not my daughter, and then leaves, sleeps on it. Obviously, there's some hard thinking that night.
Yeah.
And that night, to be honest with you, he probably didn't sleep. How he's been falling asleep at night on watches and stuff like that.
Oh.
He probably didn't fall asleep because he was thinking about that conversation and thinking about the conversation he had with Tommy and realizing, no, I got to do this. I do care for her. I'll step up.
That's why he was there so
that's
early.
why he's with the horse the next
early.
day. Gives her the option, and obviously, obviously he wanted her to make that option because he was very quick to let's go.
Yeah.
And not ask Tommy.
He knew her answer, what her answer was going to be.
Yeah. I mean, he was definitely hoping it was going to be. She could have changed her mind. She could have been doing some hard thinking that night as well and said, fuck this guy. Even though he's saved her life a couple times. Yeah, but she saved his life. I mean, how many times has Ellie saved Joel's life?
Well, with that kid Brian and KC right off the bat.
Right.
Right?
I guess it would just be one for that. Yeah. I was thinking there's another time. Oh, because I'm fast forwarding to the end of this episode and thinking about something else. But okay, never mind. I was gonna say
no spoilers, man.
We talking about? We just saw it right now.
Oh no, I thought you were gonna say something else. I thought you were gonna go further than that.
Sorry.
Okay.
All right. Well, that's all the scenes I wanted to pull. Well, actually, no, I got one more I want to pull really fast.
Yeah, go ahead.
Listen.
Everything you see in our town, greenhouses, livestock, all shared. Collective ownership.
So, communism.
Nah, it ain't like that.
It is that, literally. This is a commune. We're communists.
Yay! I think that's a funny scene. I'm sorry.
It is. You know why I love that scene too? Is the look Joel gives Tommy, and Tommy has a dumbfounded, the light just turned on.
Oh shit!
I'm in a commune, man. I'm a soldier, and
Yeah, and they're telling you can't radio your brother.
Yeah,
look,
they're controlling the media, man.
All right, do we have some more housekeeping?
Yeah, there is a couple of little things, the whole when they're in front of the bonfire in the beginning, and Ellie asked the question, where would you be after, kind of thing. Sheep farmer, and Joel's description of where he would be. I saw this online. It's basically a version of from the game of where Ellie, in the future, will be, and it's line for like a farm, a ranch, sheep,
right?
The whole nine,
and
I forgot. I would love to give credit where I saw the tweet. I have to look back, but they actually had Joel's words, and then they show you the scenes in the game, and it was great Easter egg. Another fun Easter egg, I think you brought it offline, was the pink sweater that Ellie's wearing from the game.
I thought about it in my head. I don't know if I told you.
Well,
no, but I did notice it, and I completely forgot to say something last time, but yeah.
Nice little Easter egg there, too.
No, it's totally.
They've done a really good job at that kind of stuff, putting a lot of, for the hardcore gamers to kind of see, and you've been pulling them out left and right.
I've been trying.
The Dina stuff.
I've been trying to do my thing.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do the next segment really quick. What's the next segment brought to us by?
This segment, the Ellie meter, is brought to us by Tommy's Commie Bacon for those cold Jackson post-apocalyptic mornings. Free bacon made by us all for us all.
Love that. Tommy Bacon.
Tommy's Commie Bacon. That's what we're sponsored at. So we're up to the Ellie meter again.
Ellie meter. Okay.
Up, down, the same. Where are you with Ellie after this episode?
It's gone up again.
Ooh, she's climbing.
It has gone up again. Not a lot, but it has gone up again. I did like the conversation that the heart-to-heart conversation she had with Joel about trying to use her blood to save Sam.
Yep.
I like that. I did like the other conversation where she was very quick to defend Joel when she's talking to Maria about you know, Tommy killed people also.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that.
No, I thought that was
cool.
pretty good. Also, we didn't pull this scene, but I also did like when she's in the cafeteria.
Yeah.
And she's very kind of like a little
She's
shitty,
animal.
like a little snotty. Even though I haven't really liked her that way when she's talking to Joel and when she was talking to Tess, I did kind of like it when she was talking to Maria.
When she was talking to the husband and wife in the beginning episode in the cabin.
Oh no, that was pretty good though.
Yeah,
too.
she was raised
But
by
no,
wolves.
actually, she wasn't good.
She was raised by wolves.
That was the other guy that was really good.
Oh, he was great. Yeah.
What do you call her? You call her like
Who's this psycho?
Who's this little psycho? It's gone up. So I think she was at a 6 last.
Yeah, I think you were around there. You know, I should keep the graphic up.
Yeah, we didn't have her 7, did we?
I
know. I think she's a 6.
You maybe were a little higher.
I think well, then I'm dropping her. She's a 6.5.
Oh, I think that's where we kind of agreed
We
upon.
had a 6. Anyway, I think she's a 6.5. I'm not loving her, but I'm not hating her.
Yeah.
Like she would pass in public school. with a D, with a D
plus,
the D plus.
Yeah,
but there's also
she's growing.
There's 3 episodes to go, and then there's one episode that is really we're gonna figure out how she is, and
well,
if I actually really like her, it's not gonna be the next episode coming up. I don't like.
Well, the next episode is an Ellie centric episode.
I know it's the prequel thing. I get that. I know what the prequel one is. I didn't never played that version of the video game. I gotta buy it and play it along with it, but it's gonna be the episode afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be the one with the aftermath of Joel and what those 2 characters do right then and there. And then how that whole thing, I mean, there's a lot of content they still got to fill in here, man.
Well, the next episode is confirmed for about an hour.
Yeah, but that's all prequel, right?
No, not necessarily. The title is
unless it flashes forward, unless it's a bunch of flash forward, flashback, flash forward, flashback.
Possibly. It's titled Left Behind. It's Ellie's backstory.
Right.
You're going to be in the mall, and they say it's very emotional. But you do see, I think they do show you some parts of, the aftermath of Joel killing the guy at the bogus university.
Right.
They might do, like you said, they might do a little back and forth. We'll see.
I'm just like,
it'll be interesting to see how
I'm
they
just
do
thinking of the content that's left in the actual game is not stuff that you couldn't. Right now, the episode we just watched right now, it looked like there was 2 sections of the game they smashed into one episode, which was meeting Tommy and then all the stuff that happened in the university. Then they just basically made the university the last 10 minutes. Okay?
Yeah.
The rest of the stuff that's got to happen in this show, which is only 3 episodes left, I can think of really 3 main scenes that there's no way you can gloss over them.
Yeah. So I just looked it up again.
Well,
so
2.
Next week's episode is pretty much going to be all of the backstory.
Yeah.
Episode 8, When We Are in Need, is more present time.
I would think
so
that episode.
They're going to put it an hour for both episodes.
That episode's going to defy Ellie for me.
Yeah,
that's going to be the one.
They're going that Game of Thrones route where the episode before the season's finale is extremely impactful.
I mean, the events in the game
it's a formula HBO likes.
HBO. Okay.
So that was the Ellie meter, sponsored by Tommy's Commie Bacon.
Love that, Tommy.
Free bacon made by us all for us all.
Mm-mm.
Who doesn't like free bacon? Commie bacon.
Who doesn't like free commie Tommy bacon?
But you can't use the radio, though.
Nope. Can't tell anybody about it. The commie bacon is a hidden source, and you'll never be able to find it.
Yeah.
They'll leave like maps, like no. Like Luke's,
Were you surprised that they gave us so much Jackson this episode?
Yeah, a huge 100%. I did not expect that at all.
Yeah, neither did I.
It's nice that they did do it, but I don't know. No, I liked it. I did like it. It was definitely a surprise.
Yeah.
It was like in the game, that whole scene with Tommy and then meeting Maria and then
it's at the dam, right?
at the dam. And there's another part, and I don't know if I mentioned the last episode, but there's a part that happens in the game which is so really awesome. Not awesome, but it just shows the place that Joel's at in his head. Where when he first sees Tommy, him and Tommy walk off after, or it's almost like the heart-to-heart conversation that they have in the game where they go to the bar.
Yeah.
Well, instead of them going to the bar, they go to like a bunk where Tommy has his stuff at. And Tommy says that he went back to their hometown. He went through Joel's old house to see if he found anything.
Yeah.
And he pulls out a picture of Sarah. And he goes to give the picture of Sarah to Joel, and Joel refuses to take it. He's like, no, I don't want that.
Maybe they'll save it for,
Maybe. I just thought that was interesting that they keep pulling all these other meaningful things.
Yeah.
And that one seems like it would have been such an easy thing to put in this episode. And they didn't do that. That was kind of a little weird for me.
I like that.
That's it. Other than that, yeah, it's great. Wonderful. Glad we saw Jackson. All right, let's wrap this show up. Thank you to everybody who keeps listening to these episodes. I enjoy doing this. I think Max enjoys doing it. Max, do you enjoy doing these episodes?
Sometimes, no.
Sometimes. So we've got.
I'll just play.
We've got some other stuff coming up pretty soon, which we're going to be sharing. We'll be sharing, I think, within the next week, right?
Hopefully. But for now, tell your friends, subscribe.
Tell your friends. Also, don't forget Mandalorian season 3 starts next Wednesday. And Max, we're doing Mandalorian.
Oh, that'll be cool.
Yeah. So look forward to that. Tell your friends. And that's pretty much it. Thanks again to our Patreon producer, Knight Rider 169. You're the man. Thank you so much. Anybody, if you guys like the show, please share the love, share the information, tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your dad, your brother, your sister, your uncle. I don't care who you tell your coworkers, tell people. Let's get this community spreading like fungus.
Yeah.
All right. We'll catch you guys next time. Music composed by Kyle Torme. Additional bed music composed by Jason Zaffrey. Thanks for listening to this episode of The Last of Us, a Rot Your Brain podcast. Subscribe to The Last of Us podcast feed at rotyourbrainmedia.com/The Last of Us. Follow us on Twitter at rot_yourbrain and support Rot Your Brain Media and its podcast by being a part of this exciting new and growing community. Visit patreon.com/rotyourbrainmedia.